coming to you live. Hey man, listen. This is Melchizedek David coming to you from the States, reaching out to all the brothers, connecting all the brothers in the priestly order, under the priestly order of Melchizedek and Jesus. It is the order of the lawless, those who were God's chosen, based upon the law of God in the heart, and not the law established by man through the Levitical priesthood and through acts of federalism, through European feudal systems, through legalism, I guess, which I feel like that, I began to prove and try to influence the minds of the brothers to the point that we understand like that. The Levitical priesthood established by the Mosaic law was a secondary system that created a lot of wealth for a lot of people in the church and government. It created a state. It created a church. And then that same practice was established in Europe. And then when them Europeans came to establish this country, they used that same system in 1662. In Virginia slave law, they, initially with religion, with the Queen, King James, if a father bear a child, the child shares the same freedoms, religious freedoms that the father has. And if you're a Christian, then you free. And so every child born to those men who started this country, them children should have been free. But then they was raping them little black girls. So, and they were getting fined for it too. Yeah. They changed the law. They changed the law. No longer was it the birth of the dad that dictated the child's last name and liberties, but they changed it to who the mama was. If she was a slave, then the child was a slave. The seed didn't count through the birthright, determined by mama, like Jacob and Esau. But it was done for her. See? It's gonna happen. Then they produced a system over here of slavery that perpetuated slavery. Slavery is already in the colonies, but those slave laws of 1662 had the same effect with the African American, us, as the Levitical priesthood had on Israel. So, you got basically Israel and Judah. And see, David reigned over Israel, all of Israel. But then the kingdoms were split. The northern from the southern kingdoms were split. And the northern kingdom became Israel, and the southern kingdom became Judah. And that was Judah and Benjamin. They split from the other 10 tribes. And they formed Jerusalem, which was the capital of Israel, But which was Salem. That's where Melchizedek was in the beginning. Well, it was Canaan then. It was, they were Canaanites, and Jerusalem was a city within Canaan. And Melchizedek, he was a high priest, most high priests chosen by God. He met Abraham. Abraham met him. He was already a high priest of Jerusalem at the time. He was a king of righteousness. He was black. This was in the Bronze Age. This wasn't in the Iron Age. This was in the Bronze Age, from like 3200 BC, lasted to about maybe 1200 BC. During this time, Canaan, they were rocking. It was a strong civilization, man. The Cushites, the Hittites, man, the Israelites, they weren't even a nation of people until about 1200 BC, 1300 BC, supposedly. When see, Moses, he was born in Hebrew. Yeah, he was born into slavery. Moses, Aaron, his sister Miriam, they were all born into slaves, man. And see, and so they sent Moses off over, and Moses, see, he didn't even know nothing about no slavery. Moses was raised up with them Egyptians, man. Moses the one who learned all the schooling, the math, everything. He was the one. Listen, if anybody, see, the Catholic Church, they give Moses the credit for writing the Torah, the first 5 books. That means that he wrote Genesis, Exodus, Deuteronomy, Numbers. All right, let's look at this for a second. That means he wrote his own story. So in his story, like, he was a Hebrew slave. I mean, they was born under slavery, those Hebrews, and so, because his mama sent him across the stream, and he looked Egyptian, I guess. They were beautiful, but he was raised up and taught. And he traveled and did economic business for Pharaoh with the Canaanites. See, it was about 400 kilometers away, which is roughly about 250 miles or so. And the Egyptians was a strong civilization, but so was the Canaanites. There was an older civilization than the Egyptians. And so the Egyptians, they did, obviously, they did commerce. So Moses, he had been over to Canaan. He knew how to navigate through the desert. Moses knew the way over to Canaan and back. He had been to Jerusalem. So there's a lot of discrepancies there. See, Abraham met Melchizedek, supposedly in about the, I guess they say about the 18th century BC, I guess. And Canaan, Jerusalem had already been established. If Melchizedek was the king of Salem, which Salem is Jerusalem, when he met Abraham, Jerusalem had already been established. And Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. Yet Israel was in the belly, in the loins of Abraham, because Abraham hadn't even had no kids at that point when he met Melchizedek. So if Melchizedek is the king of Salem, and Salem is Jerusalem, and David and the Israelites, David made Jerusalem the capital of Israel. I don't know. What I do know is that Melchizedek and Abraham had a relationship. And he was a priest already. And I know that Abraham had a son, Isaac, and then Isaac had two sons, Esau and Jacob. And Jacob had 12 sons, and one of those sons' name was Levi. And Levi and Simeon, his brother, they were sketchy. And Jacob, he wasn't real happy with them. He blessed them, but he also rebuked them. But they weren't priests. The Levitical priesthood started with the Mosaic law. And Moses gave those laws, and supposedly God gave those laws and instructions to Moses about the Levites. So I don't know. But the Levitical priesthood was an earthly priesthood. It established the earthly priests. But Jesus wasn't a Levite. Jesus was from the tribe of Judah and Benjamin. They were in the south of Israel. They were in Jerusalem. Get back with it.